Personal log. Celestial date 18.238.09. I've made it through a big section of this crumbling, dangerous Idolium mine. We came across a nest with a baby magma cyclops in it, and I think the mother attacked me, but I managed to let her get to her nest, and she's left me alone. And now we're heading through the rest of this mine, and I'm hoping that I'm getting close to where Brennan and the other miners are. Hello and welcome. I am Scrabberlock, and this is Starforged Alpha Cluster. We are with Krista, our main character, who is going through the Idolium mine looking for Brennan. And she's actually made 10 progress. We're going to do several rolls at once here. I don't generally do this. We're going to do several rolls at once and see what happens. But first, let me recap. She went through the mine entrance here with Iris. We got a couple of weak hits with some negatives, lost some momentum, twisted our ankle, that sort of thing. We came across a nest over here that did not have this creature in it. It was just a baby magma cyclops that looks like a little one-eyed Ewok. And Krista left Iris to guard the nest so that, to protect the baby from, I guess potential, chase off bad guys if they came along or whatever, just to keep an eye on it. And she continued forward. She found a food cache, which we determined was the Idolium itself, that these creatures eat the Idolium, which means that the miners might be actually taking the food of these creatures. So that's something Krista may have to deal with in the future. But then as she continued, we got a miss, and this parent of the Magma Cyclops baby jumped out at her and attacked her. And Krista backed off and used the lights and sounds of her droid to confuse the thing enough. It got to its nest, and we just sort of ended the battle. I felt like, I could have had Krista pull out her pistol and, put holes in the thing, but I didn't think she would do that. And so I just decided, we asked the Oracle if the creature understood that she was leaving it alone, and it did, so that ended the fight. I didn't see any need to, fill up the progress bar and that sort of stuff. She then continued forward, and we got a weak hit, and we had to burn momentum to do it. And so there's a peril at the end. We also have to figure out what the waypoint is. And we are at the end, potentially, of the expedition with 10 progress. We can't get any more progress. So this should be the final waypoint. So here's what I think I'm going to do. At my GM cap, I'm going to put my GM cap on. When you make a progress roll, or any roll, you can get a strong hit, a weak hit, or a miss. She is looking for Brennan. So I think there are three options here. If she gets a strong hit, she will, hang on a sec, I've got to close some software. Okay, so if she gets a strong hit, Brennan will be there with the miners. If she gets a weak hit, then maybe Brennan will be there but not the miners, and he's going to probably want to continue on and rescue the miners, and maybe he's going to require her to help him before he helps her, something like that. If we get a miss, then neither of them is going to be here, and they're missing, right? They're not going to be at the end of the mine. They're going to be somewhere else. Maybe the mine opens up into another whole cave network and we've got to do another delve. I don't know. So we'll see what happens. So I think we're going to do three things. We're going to do the progress roll. We're going to roll for the feature, and we're going to roll for the peril, all at once, and then put it all together. So let's start with the progress roll and see what we get. And we get a strong hit. So that means that both Brennan and the miners are going to be at whatever this waypoint is. But there's a peril here. So let's see what tables we're going to roll on. We're going to roll on the Furnace World feature, and we're going to roll on the Furnace World peril, which is perfect. Makes sense. So let's go to our planets, and it's really not Furnace World, I think. I think it'll have the feature, but the peril is just for a life-bearing world. So let's check the feature, and the feature is 65. Roiling clouds of superheated gas. Okay. And then the life-bearing thing is a trap or an alarm. So I don't think this is a trap set by the beings. I think what has happened is the machinery. So we come to the main mine shaft here. So let's go ahead and label this. This is the main shaft. And it goes down and down. This is where they found all of the idolium, or the big cache of it. And it goes down and down in like a cylinder going on downwards. And there are all of these terraces, or whatever you want to call them, like carved all along the wall, kind of in a spiral going down as they were gouging out the idolium that they found in this big vein that goes all the way down the bottom. And they have a big, giant machine that was doing the digging, and the men were, sitting on it in multiple seats running the machine. And this thing has been disabled. It's broken, and it's all this steam and gas is coming out of the engines and is basically mixing with the idolium, right? So it started some sort of a fire in the idolium, and so the idolium is causing all of this heat and all of this gas, and she can even feel it through her environmental suit. And what she finds is kind of down there at the bottom, where this, as far as it's gotten, where this machine is, she's got Brennan is down there, and the other, let's see how many miners. Let's roll D4. I'm going to say D4 plus 1 because we said there were miners, so it's got to be plural. So Brennan and 2 other miners are down there, and they are unconscious because they have been knocked out by the superheated gas, and she's going to have to figure out kind of how to get in there and deal with the superheated gas and get them out. But this does mean that we have explored the mine and found Brennan. So let's go ahead and mark progress on this vow. So now I think she's going to have to get Brennan away from the superheated gas, right? This is what she has to do now. She's going to have to get down there and pull him out. Now she has ropes and stuff, but also I envision that the mine, this sort of shaft going down, right? It's got ledges that are plenty wide to walk on, going down in a spiral. The problem is it ends down there where these 3 unconscious men are, in this superheated steam and gas, and they're trapped in there, and she's going to have to figure out a way to get them out. So I think that is how we've set up this scene, and she's got to get down there and not get knocked out herself. So let me think about how she's going to do this. All right, well, here's what I think she's going to have to do. I think she is going to have to go down there quickly and try and maybe see if she can. Well, she could try to repair the machine. If she can fix it, she doesn't have any bonuses to repairing. Oh wait, so we haven't reached a milestone in our vow to get the artifact. So she could try to lasso, like the arm or something of one of the men and pull him up. Or she could just try to, I think she's going to, I just don't think she's going to be able to do that. I think she's going to have to go down there and grab Brennan and drag him out of there. And she's going to have to do this with speed, right? Because if she takes too long, she's going to get knocked out too. So what she's gonna do is she's just got to get. She only has to be in the superheated gas for a moment. Superheated. That sounds really dangerous. Like it could melt her environmental suit. Uh, she has grappling hooks. I'm just trying to think if she can use her climbing pack. What's her pocket tool got in it? Small magnet. No, it doesn't have anything that she could use for it. Um, I think she's got to go down there and hope that her environmental suit holds long enough to grab Brennan and pull him out, and then maybe with the two of them, they can get the other men out. I think that's what she's going to have to do. So we're going to have to face danger, and we're going to have to face danger with edge, I think. So, and we don't have any momentum, which is quite dangerous. I think first she's going to secure an advantage. So what she's going to do, okay, so what she is going to do is she's going to, she's got pitons and stuff, so she is going to, like, jam her pitons into the side and tie a rope around the piton and then around her waist, and she's going to give Iris the order to like pull her up, to help pull her up. And I think Iris, although we have it pictured as a little circular robot, I think it's got like a little arm it can extend and grab, and it's not super strong, but it can help. And let's see if that works. Let's see if this is going to help her. If it fails, then I think Iris is just not going to be strong enough to help her when the time comes. So let's try to secure an advantage. And um, I think she's doing this with expertise, right? So that's wits. And we get a strong hit. So we get +2 momentum, and we add +1 to our next move, which is excellent. So we get +1 on our next move. So this thing, Iris, with its arm and its motors that allow it to fly, is going to be strong enough to pull her up and help her. So she's going to go down there to get him and then come back. And should this be... I feel like there should be two moves, right? One to get down, and one to get back. And what I'm just wondering is, should we set a course, right? Following a known route through hazardous terrain. I think so. I think to get down there, she's got to set a course. And then to get back, we're going to face danger. She's going to have to face danger like plus iron or something, because she's got to use her strength to get him back. So first, we're going to set a course. And that makes sense, plus supply, right? She's using her ropes and everything, so let's go ahead and do that. And we get an extra +1 on this move because we secured an advantage. And we get a weak hit. Okay. So Krista heads down. She's not going... Well, I guess she's going down with the rope, right? She's lowering herself down, like rappelling down, because it's faster to go down that way than to run around and around and around the shaft. So she rappels down, and we're going to have to make either a suffer move or face a complication at the bottom. So I think this takes a long time, and it's going to... do what? I think the heat is going to get to her, right? It's super hot down there. So even just going down there, the heat gets to her. So she's going to lose momentum, a little bit of momentum, and she is going to endure harm. We're enduring 1 harm. And we get, look at this, a strong hit with an opportunity. So she gets the health back. So she is smart enough to regulate. She's constantly, as she's going down, she's stopping and she's changing the dials and buttons on the belt of her, or on the arm pad of her environmental suit. So she's regulating against the heat and everything, and she manages to do okay, and she gets an opportunity at the bottom. So, what's the opportunity going to be? Is it that Brennan is actually still conscious and can help her a little bit? Um, I'm going to say that's likely. If not, then I'll randomly roll what the opportunity is. So, is Brennan maybe still conscious? Yes, he is. So she gets down there and he looks up at her, and there's like sweat all in his face inside the environmental suit. There's like condensation on the face plate because he's been sweating so much, and he's very dehydrated, and he's like, help me. And she says, "Can you stand?" And he says, "Yes." And he slowly like starts to get up, and she grabs him, and she puts his, she gets him over her shoulders, and he's able to lock his hands around her, and now she's going to have to climb back up using strength, and she's going to have to climb back up with him using her strength. But I think before she does that, she's going to take out more of her rope. So let's secure an advantage again. She's going to prepare. She's going to take out more of her rope very quickly, and she's going to tie it around the two guys. She's going to tie it to one guy, and then tie it to the other guy, and then kind of tie it to her belt. And it's long enough. She's not going to pull them up as she goes up. She's going to get up there first, and then she's going to try to pull the two of them up. So she puts his arms around her, and she says, "Hold on." And he says, "I can hold on. Please get me out of here." And Krista is going to so does this work, this securing advantage to tie the two guys together? Let's see. I think she's doing it quickly though, right? She doesn't have time, so we're going to use edge. We get a weak hit. So I think we're going to take +1 on our next move because we don't have a lot of momentum. Taking +2 momentum would be great, but I'd rather get +1 on the next move because we're rolling iron on the next move. So she ties this stuff together, and while she's doing this, and then she gets Brennan to hold on to her and clamp his arms over her as she gets him like over her back like a backpack. He's reinvigorated by the fact that he might be saved now. He couldn't get himself out of the mine shaft, but he can hold on. And he's going to try to help her as much as he can, and maybe he can even use his legs a little bit to push up with her. And so now we're going to face danger plus iron, which is one of our worst stats, and see if we can get him out. Can we do it? No. Miss. We pay the price. So I think the obvious thing here is to endure harm. Right, I think she's been down here too long, and so she is harmed. And so how many harm is that, though? This is a dangerous thing, so I think it's going to be 2 harm. It's a dangerous delve. So our health is now 3, and now we have to roll endure harm. And why did I turn that off? So let's endure harm. And we get a strong hit. So she is hurt, but we get a little bit of the health back. We don't have any bonuses. She's struggling to continue to get up the side of the cliff. Let's see. So let's see. Can she try to compel Iris to help me? Come on, Iris, help pull us up. I think that's securing an advantage. So she calls up to Iris and tells Iris to help her out. And I think that's with command, right? So we're rolling plus heart. So she calls up to Iris and says, "Iris, it's time to pull. Pull us up. Help." Does it work? Weak hit. Let's get momentum this time, because we need to build some momentum. And now she's going to face danger again with her strength. And what do we get? Guys, strong hit with an opportunity. So I think the opportunity is that he's much more invigorated as she pulls him out of the heat, and she starts getting up away from the heat. He starts to recover, and Brennan starts like using his feet to brace her, and he helps pull on the rope, and he helps get them up. And so she gets to the top, and the two of them kind of get back. And oh, it's so hot down there. Well, we've got to get those other two guys up. So they lean down, and I don't think we're going to make a move here. They're just going to they're both tied to ropes. Each one of Krista and Brennan pull on the ropes and get these two men out. Now I don't know whether the two men are alive or not. Um, actually, so let's see. Um, should we ask the Oracle? Are they still alive? I'm going to say 50-50. Are they still alive? Yes, they're still alive. Okay. So they pull the two men out, and the men are still alive. Now, let's take a look at our progress, because one of the things we then said was get Brennan away from the superheated gas. So we have done that. So let's go ahead and cross that off. And we made progress. And so Brennan then looks at her, and even on these environmental suits, he's got the patch with the star on his sleeve. He's an astral. The two men have the patches on their sleeves with the comet. They're terrestrials. They're the lower class. But Krista doesn't have a patch. So he looks at her through the condensation, and he says, "Who are you? You're not a dead rocker." And she says, "No, I actually was trying to see if I could get some help from you for a whole other matter. And when I found out you guys were down here, I came to rescue you. It didn't seem like the town was going to do anything about it." And he kind of leans back against the rocks, and he shakes his head, and he says, "No, they're terrestrials. The astrals don't care about them." And Krista says, "Well, you're an astral. Why do you care about them?" Well, let's learn a little bit more about him now. We have Brennan, and let's learn a little bit more about him. So I think his disposition is probably determined now. I kind of sort of determined it on the narrative. Let's take a look at what the disposition options are. I think he's gonna be at least curious, if not better. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna roll. You can roll any dice you want here. So I'm gonna roll 1d30, and we'll see what happens. So we roll a 30-sided die, and we get 2. He's going to be helpful. So he's a scout who is helpful. What's his goal? Well, I think right now his goal is to defend a person, perhaps? Well, let's see. Well, that's his current goal, but what's his overall goal? His overall goal is to solve a mystery. Okay. We don't know what yet. And so first look. So now that she looks at him through his faceplate, what has she got? We're only going to do one of these, and we'll see the others when he gets his faceplate off and she sees him in person. He is scarred, so she can even see through his faceplate that he has a scar over one eye. And what revealed aspect do we have? We have he is wild. All right, so this guy is in the sense of reckless. And she says, like, what were you doing down there? Were you crazy to go down there without any help? And he says, well, you saw what happened down there. The machine broke. The idolium went up in flames. It caused all this superheated gas. And, well, those men were going to die if I didn't help them. And she says, all right, well, we can't stay here forever. That fire might get worse. There's more Edolium down there. Let's get the heck out of here. And she says, you know, by the way, there are some creatures that live in here. And he says, oh, you mean the magma cyclops? And she says, yeah, I found one that made a nest. I think we need to get it out. And he says, well, good luck with that. They're pretty violent and dangerous, and they might attack you. And so Krista says, well, all right, I guess we're going to just have to leave it. Let's get the men back, and I'll worry about the magma cyclops later. So she might come back to this. But together, she and Brennan carry these two men out. And so now we're going to try to leave this place, and I think we've got to make a roll. And finish an expedition. No, we did that already. We're done. Oh, and by the way, okay, so hold on, I messed up. We reached our destination or completed our survey, mark our reward. The rank was dangerous, so we get 2 ticks on the discoveries track. And that gives us 2 experience to upgrade an asset, which is excellent. So she's discovered that the Idolium is something that the creatures eat. She's also discovered that it's flammable and it's on fire down here in the mine shaft, that the drilling machine is causing these great gouts of steam and so on and so forth. Right, we did get a strong hit on that, correct? Yes. But now we have to head out. So I think this is just setting a course, right? So the 2 of them are going to head out, and hopefully she's got enough. So she's got to share some of the oxygen. She's got a couple spare oxygen tanks on the back. She's got to share oxygen with these guys because they're running out of oxygen. So let's see if we can get out in time. Oh, that's bad. That's a miss. So I think the obvious threat is that this thing comes out and is going to attack them. And Chris is the only one in any shape to fight it. And so it threatens them. And she still doesn't want to kill this thing. But maybe she can figure a way out of it. Let's enter the fray, right? So it's going to attack them. So if we overcome this obstacle, we can get safely to our destination. All right, so we're going to enter the fray, and I think at this point she's facing off against it. And we get a strong hit. We take two momentum, and we are in control. All right, so what Chris is going to do, since she's right here, is the first thing she's going to do is she's going to grab the food and hold it up to the thing, and it licks its lips. You know, it wants that food for its baby. And she's going to, what's she going to do? Give it? Maybe she can give it to Iris. I like this idea. She's going to give it to Iris and have Iris fly forward with it and too high for this thing to hit, and this way, and try to lead it out. And I think that's gaining ground, right? She's trying to reinforce her position. So let's roll gain ground, and I think this is with wits, right? It's a plan. And we get a strong hit. So we mark progress. So we're back to this thing. And we had to start the fight over again. So we mark progress. And we're going to take +2 momentum. So now we have good momentum. So when the thing turns and heads toward and starts watching Iris. I don't think it's going to move yet because its baby is still in here. And so Krista is going to come up behind it. And she's going to try to grab it. And Brennan's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? They have toxic claws. And she says, well, I don't want to kill it. So she's going to try to grab it. So this is with iron. Right? This is going to be a strike with iron. Right? She's not trying to hurt it. She's just trying to grab it. And she's still got the ropes in her hand, so she may try to tie it up or something, but she's going to grab it first. Oh, that's not good. We get a miss. We can burn momentum for a weak hit. Let's do it. So we get a weak hit. We mark progress twice, but expose ourselves to danger, which makes sense. So we're now in a bad spot, and now the creature gets to do a combat action, right? With my own personal rules are, when you're not in control, the creature gets to do stuff. So the creature then turns and does what? The creature then makes it an indirect attack. So I think the creature, she's got it from behind and she's holding it. It can't attack her, but she's picked it up and it's now close enough. I think it's going to swing out and strike at Iris. Okay? So now we have to react under fire. So what's she going to do? She's going to try to turn it away so that it can't get Iris. And let's see how that works. React under fire. And I think she's doing this with edge, right? This would be dexterity. Oh, no, she's diverting force. It's with iron. Okay, so she's trying to divert it from attacking Iris. If she fails, Iris is going to be the one that takes the damage. And we get a miss. So we pay the price. So on pay the price, I think, is there a companion? You are an individual. Right, an individual is exposed to danger. I think this is companion endure harm. So she tries to get it out of the way, but instead it rakes Iris with its claws. So this is dangerous. So how much harm does it do? So hang on, let me check this. Okay, so it's not really rank based. What it says is a lesser creature attacking is 1 harm. A deadly creature attacking is 2, and like a really amazing. So these things aren't. They're just dangerous. They're not deadly, I don't think. And plus, it has toxins in its claws, but that wouldn't really hurt Iris that much. So I think Iris is going to endure 1 harm. So let's open up the asset. And the bot is only at 2 health now. And now we're going to do companion endure harm. Companion takes a hit, I guess. So, when they face physical hardship, they shove -1 health for minor harm, 2 for serious, 3 for major. If they're 0, okay. And then we're going to roll. Companion takes a hit. And I'm not sure. I'm going to roll this. I think this is correct. You're rolling their health. So you don't have to roll this, but let's go ahead and roll it. She doesn't get any bonuses. Get a weak hit. And a weak hit, the companion's health is not 0. You can lose momentum and give them +1 health. Yeah, let's do it. So it tries to rake its claws against Iris, but Krista kind of backs away from Iris. That pulls her backward down the hallway, right? So we're now back a little further. She pulls her the creature backward away from Iris, and I think Iris is too far away here. She should be over here. But it's now no longer in range. She's still in a bad spot, though. So what she's going to do is try and... what's she going to try to do? Let me think about that. All right, I think what Chris is going to do is hold the thing and not hurt it. Just hold it and say, it's okay, it's okay. We're not going to hurt you. It's okay. It's okay. And see if she can get it to stop struggling. And I think that's reacting under fire. And she's remaining stalwart against fear, maybe? I really think this is heart, right? She's appealing to the creature, almost like a compel move. So I think we roll heart here. And we get a weak hit. We avoid the worst of the danger, but not without a cost. So I think she's stressed in doing this. and she's afraid of this thing, and she's tired. I think we're going to endure stress. So this is a -1 suffer move. Um, we stay in a bad spot. So the creature um, doesn't like it's trying to swipe behind at her, and it's raking against the sides of her environmental suit, but it's not really doing anything to her helmet, and its claws can't really get through. And now she's going to endure stress. And we get a strong hit. So she shakes it off. And now what's she going to do? I think she's got to do something. So she is going to try to clash. She's going to try to knock this thing on the head and see if she can knock it unconscious. And unfortunately, this is iron. We have no choice. And we get a strong hit, guys. So we mark progress twice. And she's in control. So she hits this thing on the head and stuns it. And then what she's going to do now, because this is ending the fight, right? Taking decisive action, right? What she's going to do is see if she can finish this thing and like just sort of tie it up so that it's not. Well, she doesn't want to tie it up. She doesn't want to leave it. She's going to just stuff it back into the nest and say, go. And Brennan drags the other two men out, and she drags the guy out, and they just get out of there. That's what she's going to try to do, and just get away from it. And she says, Iris, go. And Iris flies toward the entrance and tries to lead them out. So I don't know if we can actually make a roll here. Doesn't look like it. Oh, we did. That's not what we want. That's not what we want. We want to make a progress roll. And we have 10 progress. It doesn't look like we can make a roll on this. So we have 10 progress, and we're just rolling two 10-sided dice. Right? And we get a strong hit. So she stuffs this thing back into its nest, and she says, I guess we're just going to have to leave it here. It's just too violent, and it can't understand. And then she and the guys get out. And so they get back to her spaceship, and once they get inside the airlock, they recycle the air. She can take off her environmental suit. She and all the guys are just soaked in sweat because it was so hot in the cave, and her hair is all wet and everything. And now let's get another look at Brennan and see what else he looks like. Our first look at Brennan. And in addition to being scarred, he's augmented. Interesting. So, what she sees. So, what does he have? Does he have an artificial arm? Artificial leg? Does he have an artificial eye? Not only is he scarred, so the eye has a scar, kind of like Nick Fury in Captain America: The Winter Soldier, but maybe the eye is artificial. I think that's extremely likely. Let's say that's almost certain. Yep. So he has an artificial eye. Let's say, I don't know, 50-50. Is it the left eye? Yes. So it's an artificial left eye. And the scar is over the left eye. So he had some sort of an injury, and they had to replace his eye with an artificial left eye. And so they're on the ship now. So let's go to the ship. We're done with this creature, and we're done with this map. We're done with this delve. And let's go to the Stormswept. And so they start off in the airlock, but then Krista brings them into the med bay, where she sets up, turns on her scanners and everything, and they put the men on the beds, and Brennan is okay enough that he can help her, and they put oxygen masks on them and stuff. And then uh, she says, "Let's get them back. I only have a little bit of medical equipment here. Let's get them back to Dead Rock." And Brennan says, "I still can't believe you came out there and you helped us. Thank you so much." And she says, "I did what I could." And she brings him up, and she sends him into the mess to get. She gets some water from there, and she leaves him in there. And then she gets into the cockpit, and she triggers, turns on the ship, and they fly back to um, Dead Rock. I don't think at this point it's necessary to like set a course or anything. They're just gonna fly back. Um, and she gets him back to Dead Rock. So they fly back and they land, and she radios in. She says, "This is Jackpot calling Dead Rock Control. Jackpot calling Dead Rock Control. I've got wounded miners with me. Please have medical staff standing by." So when she arrives, there are two medics with a couple of hover gurneys waiting there, and they bring the two guys off and lay them down there and take them off to the med bay. And Brennan says, "I'm going to go back to my room and change, but I'll meet you in the cantina, and drinks are on me." And so then Krista actually heads back into her ship and takes a shower herself because she's just a mess from the heat, and she drinks a whole bunch more water, and they must have some sort of a Gatorade like fluid that can replace electrolytes and stuff. She sticks Iris into its charging station and tells it to power down, and then she heads to the cantina, and there she sees Brennan waiting for her with uh, galactic martini, and at one of the tables, and he sits down with her and he says, "You've really done something incredible here. I can't thank you enough. A total stranger risking her life like that. I still can't imagine why you would do that." And Krista says, "Well, I couldn't just let you and the other men die there." And he says, "Well, everybody else here was willing to let us die." And she says, "Well, among other things, I needed your help." Now, let's look at the vow. Her vow was to get him back, and she did do that. So I think if we get a strong hit on this, that he's probably going to be both willing and able to help her. So we mark progress, and we've got 10 progress. She's rescued Brennan, and she says to him, "Listen, one of the reasons I needed your help is because I'm working with Zephyr from Relic Station." And he nods and he says, "Yeah, I know Zephyr. I've talked to her a few times. I go over there sometimes when I'm patrolling the area." And Krista says, "Well, apparently there are local raiders, and the raiders are stealing things from you guys." And he says, "Yeah, it happens. They raid our supplies. Sometimes they've even stolen an idolium shipment." And Krista's eyes go wide because idolium is super valuable. And she says, "Well, apparently in one of their raids, they got an artifact." And he says, "Yeah, they found an artifact down in the mine, a couple of levels up from where you saw the bottom there. I don't remember exactly. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was some sort of an ancient artifact, and Zephyr was supposed to examine it." And Krista says, "Well, apparently the raiders got it, and I promised to get it back." And he says, "You promised?" And she pulls the chain up and pulls the piece of the Ophion out of from under her shirt and shows it to him. And he says, "Oh, you're one of those. You're an Ironsworn." And she says, "Yes." So now, let's see, what other revealed aspect do we have of this character? How's he going to react? What's the other revealed aspect we have for him? And I think we also want to make him a connection, but let's reveal his last aspect. And that is powerful, okay? I think he's physically strong, right? He's physically powerful. So I'm going to say he's powerfully built. So he's a big, strong guy. And Krista says, according to the dockmaster here, you're the one here on Dead Rock who might know something about where these raiders are. And he says, "What do you mean know about where they are?" And she says, "Well, I need to get the relic back. So, you know, she points to her Ophion's fragment. She says, I swore an iron vow to do it, so I need to find out where they are so I can go get it. And he says, you're going to go up against the raiders by yourself? And she says, well, I have my resources. And he says, okay, so how's he gonna respond? Does he know where the raiders are? Is he gonna look favorably on this? So let's see. We get a weak hit. So what that means for an iron vow is there's more to be done, or you realize the truth. So the reward is, so we can either swear an iron vow to set things right. We're already in the middle of a bunch of iron vows. Or we just take one tick on the legacy track. So let's take one tick on the legacy track. We do have some experience that I want to spend too, but let's finish this scene. So let's mark this completed. And I also want to unbookmark it. So what's he going to tell her, right? Because it has to be a complication. So let me think about that. All right, so what I think is these raiders are an actual faction, right? And so he knows a lot about the raiders, so he's going to tell her some of this, and then others we're going to have to generate. But what he tells her is you don't know what you're up against. These guys aren't just a few disorganized random raiders. They're pretty advanced and organized faction. So the first thing we have to ask is what type of influence it has. So hang on. So let me look this up a little bit here. Right. So this is organized a little differently from the book. So the influence of the faction. So how far reaching is the faction? So this faction is 97. It is inescapable. So it ranges across human occupied space. So this isn't just a tiny little group of raiders. These guys are a huge, far-reaching faction that they have their claws in things in every civilized, settled sector of the Forge. Throughout the Terminus, throughout the Outlands, these guys are all across human space. And their dominion is what? I think that's the next thing we roll. Yep. And their dominion is artistry. That doesn't make sense. Let's re-roll that. Their dominion is law. That doesn't really make sense either. So we rolled a 61. What does 16 look like on the table? I'm sorry, I'm just going to glance at the table. Conquest. Okay, that makes more sense. They ultimately want to conquer human space. Okay? So this is a fringe group of raiders that wants to conquer human space. Their leadership is clan chiefs or elders. So they are led by clan chiefs. One per sector, maybe. And they're, whoops, hold on. Not characters. Their type of guild is, let's see. Are they merchants, bounty hunters, assassins, mystics? Now let's roll and just see what we get. 81 researchers. What's 18? Courtesans. So researchers makes more sense, but conquesting researchers doesn't really make a lot of sense. So I think this is probably mercenaries. Or did, yeah, I think they're mercenaries. I think that makes the most sense. Or assassins. So let's say mercenaries is the more likely of the two. We'll call that likely. And if not, it'll be assassins. Is it not going to roll? There we go. Yes, they are mercenaries. And then we look at as a fringe group. Oh wait, no, they're sorry, they're not a guild. That makes sense. They're a fringe group. We know what they are. They're raiders. Yeah. So sorry, I've already done that. I'm sorry, guys. I've never created a faction before, and this is again not set up the way the book is exactly. What projects do they have? Let's see. I don't know what we don't know what their projects are. He doesn't know what their projects are. I think they could have up to 2 projects. I'm going to rule, but we don't know what they are yet. Relationships. They need aid, but we don't know who. And what are they called? So the name template is going to be Legacy Affiliation. So Legacy Affiliation. They are the Shattered Federation. Ooh, that is cool. And quirks. Let's see. Quirks should be 1 to 2 and rumors 1 to 2. So we don't know what their quirks are yet, or maybe we'll do 1 quirk and 1 rumor, and then we'll add more as she learns about it. So he tells her that they suffered destructive sabotage from within. But I don't know what yet. And their quirk is that they banish the disloyal. Okay. So what he's going to tell her, so he doesn't know where they are. What he's going to tell her is that they banish the disloyal, and that there is a guy or a girl. There is a person who sabotaged them and was banished. And if Krista can find this person should be able to help her get to the raider base. Okay, so let me work some of this out, and I'll bring you back because this has been a long episode. Okay, so here's what I decided. I decided to roll up an NPC, and I got the random name, got just the call sign. All we know about this NPC is it's a call sign, and a little bit of obvious stuff. Named Mainframe. So I got this idea. Okay, so this is somebody who was one of their computer techs, and sold maybe their computer information or something to the enemy. They don't kill you, they banish you. So he was banished, or she was banished. We don't know even if it's male or female. Banished from the guild or the raiders, and so we're gonna have to find Mainframe now in order to make this work. So let's go back here. So if we go back to our vow, right? So locate the raider hideout. This is going to become find Mainframe. to discover the raider hideout. So she's going to have to find mainframe, whoever this is, and see if she can get this person to continue the betrayal and tell her where the raiders are. Now the question is, where is mainframe? And so there's got to be a rumor about where mainframe is, and the question is mainframe in, wouldn't be in the Capricorno system, is mainframe in the sector, or did mainframe leave the sector? So does he know, does he have rumors that mainframe is in the sector? I mean, might she be on Brink? Not sure about that. I think we're going to figure that out next episode, but I do want to make a connection, right? So we've got a new relationship with this guy. So let's see if we can make a connection with him. And we're going to roll plus heart. And, oh, God, nope. We get a miss. So, so I guess he doesn't know where mainframe is. And he's not interested in establishing a relationship with Krista because she's not an astral. And even though he was willing to go save those guys, he's not interested in becoming a contact for her. He said, "Look, I've given you what I owe you. I've told you the information I have, and it's up to you to find out where this person is. I've heard about this person, mainframe. I think if you can find them, him or her, don't know, mainframe can help you, but I can't." And that's where I guess we will unfortunately end things. Oh, we do have to spend experience, so let me look at her assets, and I will do that. All right, I decided to gain a little bit on her Lore Hunter path. When she recalls us to her knowledge to secure advantage or gain ground, we can add +1. We envision an obscure or helpful fact, but helpful fact, theory, or technique, and put it to use. So, like if she's, let's say when she was fighting that creature, and we were trying to figure out how to like trick it into, not harming us or whatever, we could have +1 to it. Okay. So that spends her experience from the discoveries. And unfortunately, we didn't establish a connection here. And now we know we have to go and look for this character mainframe. And we're going to have to ask around and see if we can find out anything about mainframe and where to look for her. So I hope you guys enjoyed. This is a really long episode. I apologize for that, but a bunch of unexpected stuff happened. Until next time, I am Scrapperlock. This has been Starforged Alpha Cluster.